Hello, ADA friends. My name is Christine Barber, often referred to as the ADA Lady, and I am here to help you with your digital accessibility efforts. I have over 10 years experience in ADA remediation and training, and I am here to help you make the world a more accessible place. Please note, although I am an accessibility expert, I am not a legal advisor. Please always defer to your lawyer or legal representative for specific questions regarding liability and interpretation of the law. That being said, let's get into it. One thing I wanted to show you today was how to get rid of those pesky annotation errors that we see pop up in Adobe Acrobat Pro from time to time. I wanted to show you how I walk through that and how you can fix those things, and a couple tips and tricks on the toolbars that you can add to your system as well. Here I have my PDF, and I have a couple links in here and some other content. We have some text and some images. We're going to go ahead and run the accessibility checker over here in Tools, Prepare for Accessibility. Going to go ahead and check for accessibility. And remember, you want to keep everything checked here. If you uncheck items, it means that Adobe is going to possibly miss some accessibility things that you should be doing. I always leave everything checked by default. Going to go ahead and click Start Checking. And you can see we have the secondary accessibility menu that popped up over here on the right-hand side. We can also see that we have those tagged annotation errors, and these are so frustrating to fix. The software is not very intuitive to tell you how to fix those, just that you have these errors on there. And in fixing these, I'm going to give you a couple tips over here on your sub menu. Yes, there is a third menu for Adobe Accessibility. We are going to go ahead and add some items here. So if you right click, Adobe gives you options in this drop down to add a couple additional tools in this menu. I'm going to go ahead and check on accessibility tags. I'm going to right click again, and I am going to select content, and I am going to right click one more time, and I am going to click order, and this is what gives you your reading order in Adobe. Now that we have all of this fun stuff up, I am going to come back over to the main menu over here on the left-hand side. And again, the menus may be flip-flopped depending on what version of Adobe you have. I have the latest subscription version from Adobe, so mine may look a little bit different from yours. And I know there was some time where Adobe had flipped the menus for about a year, and then they flipped back to what they originally were. Hopefully yours looks similar to what mine is, but just know that they may be on opposite sides of the screen for you. I'm going to go ahead and click here on Fix Reading Order. And this is yet, yes, another menu that Adobe has for us. And this one is a little difficult. If you have one screen, it's kind of hard to know where to put this. I typically tuck it over here on the left-hand side as far over as I can so I can still see most of my screen over here. Another thing I do is I switch over to structure types when I'm working, because as we change our structure types, it could change items on the page in the reading order anyway. So I'm a work smarter, not harder type of person. I do all of my accessibility structure types first, and then I'll go through and do the reading order. It just makes the most sense for me, and that's the way I do it. I also like to uncheck this option in this fourth menu, in the reading order menu. It says to display like elements in a single block. I like to uncheck this because, as you can see on my page, it converted all of the tags to their own individual tags. Again, I'm going to recheck that, and you can see it kind of makes blocks out of everything that have similar tags. I like to see everything that is individual and in its own standing so we can work with the tags a lot easier. That's just my preference, and this is how I work. Going to go back to that accessibility checker, And we can see here we have those tagged annotation errors. We're going to drop this down. And we have two elements that have an issue on here. I get this question a lot on how to fix these because everybody drives themselves nuts with trying to figure out what Adobe wants and why they're not accessible. We can see that they are the two links at the bottom of my document. I have a URL and I also have a server link on here because this might be like where you save your documents, and in your footer, at least at work, what we do is we have the document location in the footer of our documents, which is very helpful in trying to find those things later on. That is what these two are giving us errors on. And if we right click and you go to explain, it'll jump to a description of an annotation error and not actually how to fix it. Let me go ahead and walk you through that now. Now that we added these items over here on the right, we can right click on this error and I'm going to select Show in Content Panel. And the content panel here shows everything that we have on our page and what containers those items are in. And we can see here that when we jumped over here, it takes you right to that tag so you know exactly what the issue is, which is really nice because you can have a lot of different links in your document. So it jumps you right to that one. We are going to go ahead and learn how to fix both of these. We can fix them both at once. We can see here up at the top that these links are in the annotations folder, which is what we have our error on. So we're going to go ahead and right click on annotations. And I'm going to select find from that drop down menu. And this will give us a little pop-up box for find element. I'm going to click on the first option, which is find, and it has a drop down menu. We are going to go down and select unmarked annotations. Let's go ahead and click on that. Again, that is unmarked annotations. My document is just one page. You may have a large document where these errors may expanse over several pages. I typically will do a search document instead of just the page, or you can just do it page by page, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it on search document and click that find button. You can see here it jumped right to that first error that we had. So it did find it. It did notify us where the issue is. So we're going to go ahead and tag that element. The second button there is tag element. Go ahead and click on that. And we have yet another pop-up window. And here it is a new tag window. And here we can go ahead and put in the type. What type of annotation is this that we want to go ahead and tag? On that, I'm going to go ahead and click on that drop-down menu. And we are going to click on the content type of link. So let's scroll down. And right here is link. Going to go ahead and click on that. Now that we have that, you do not have to put a title in. I have found sometimes if you put titles in, you get errors on nested alt text. So I leave this blank, gonna go ahead and click the OK button. And you can see it jumped us to the next error. So we know that the two in the footer were my issues. We just fixed the one. You can see that the focus changed on the secondary link in the bottom of my footer. So I'm going to go ahead and hit tag element again. It defaults to your last selection, which is really handy because it is usually on things like links that you can go through. We already have that selected, so just going to go ahead and click OK. You'll get a confirmation pop-up that says that your find is completed. So we're going to hit OK. And we still have this find element box. Going to go ahead and close that. We don't need that anymore. Now that we have those marked, even though they don't have any tag boxes around them, that's perfectly normal. We're going to come back over here on the right-hand side, and we are going to click on the accessibility checker again. As you know in Adobe, this is not a live accessibility checker. So if you want to see whether you fixed or you broke something, you have to keep running the checker. It's not like the Microsoft Suite where it runs automatically and it keeps pace with you. This one will just sit there until you trigger it to run again. Now we can see that those errors are still there. Let's go ahead and right click in the checker and do check again. And you can see that those tagged annotations have now passed. If you like this video or you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. If you want to know more accessibility tips and tricks with either the Microsoft Suite or with Adobe, I am happy to assist. Please put a comment down below if there is something that you may be struggling with that you would like to see a help video on, and I would be happy to take a look at that, and maybe it will be our next content subject. Thank you so much for watching, and again, don't forget to smash that like button, and if there's anything else that you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, ADA friends. I'll see you in the next one.